Test. Hello, Danville. Alan Chilch here, Chief of Police for the town. We're 10-8 and in service, which means we're here to make people's lives better. We do that by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not sure if you can just put in the chat if you can hear me now and if it sounds clear. We just had to make some connections here. This is a live show, so if you have any questions during the show, we're going to monitor both Facebook and YouTube. So if you have them right in the chat, just type them in and we'll get it. So Yuri, Larry, thanks for the loud and clears. All right, so we're going to cover crime, we're going to cover traffic, but we do have what I would say is a success story, and that's where all of you get engaged and involved and let us know what it is that you see. So let's cover the evergreens, though. We want you to download these two guides, the FEMA All Hazards Checklist. This will help you prepare for those events that don't occur that often, but can be pretty catastrophic. We're highlighting wildfires right now. If you can tell the hills are brown, that's not a good recipe for fires. Also, sign up for the community warning system through the Sheriff's Office website, and that's an opt-in service, and we'll let you know when dangerous things are happening. Also, you can go to the Sheriff's website and download the Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide, and that'll help you to be prepared prior to, how to safely survive and then recover from those events. So we actually had a pretty fun day yesterday, and I know we went out to a lot of your communities, but we did something called National Night Out. National Night Out is the first Tuesday in August. Great time. And really, I know it's a program that seems to be centered on law enforcement, fire. CHP was out there. A lot of good people were out there. Really, the focus is on all of you. And I know there's some communities or cities throughout the area, and what they do is, like, the police department may host an event and have people come to them, and we specifically stay away from that. Even though last year I think we had 22 locations that we visited. Think about this: we only have 30 cops. We went to 22 locations last year. This year, thankfully, some of them actually consolidated, and so instead of going to like 5 or 6 smaller ones at 20 to 30 people, some were like 300 people large. Just awesome. And I can tell you the ones that were fun, all the ones I went to yesterday were all a lot of fun, and they were fun because there was tables out, there was food out, and really that's what it's about. And it's about getting people in your neighborhood together. And when we get to the crime, you'll kind of see if you know your neighborhood, and all of you are experts in your neighborhood. And so if you know your neighborhood, you're more likely to see something out of place, report it to us, and then we can respond and react to it. So just a great time, but I want to share some pictures because these were pretty awesome. So we do bring out toys like the motorcycle and let the kids hop on it. And you see, we had a lot of people out there. It was a lot of fun. There were, I think we went to a total of 14 locations this year. So it was a really good time. Kids get to go in and out of the car, talk on the loudspeaker. That tends to be a pretty fun one. And kind of an interesting pick. That's a cute picture on the right, but interesting pick. The middle is actually, we brought out our drones, and you can't see the drone because the drone is actually what's taking the picture, and we actually call them unmanned aerial systems. But I think the common term people know them as drones. Also, if you want to come see us in person, we're going to be out at Coffee with the Cops August 4th, 9 o'clock. We're going to be at Bagel Street Cafe in the Livery. So that's a chance for you to come and see us in person. All right, on to Brian Emmerich, 10-2. Great, good one. Okay, I think our sound checks are good. I appreciate all of it. All right, so we're going to move on to crime, communitycrimeapp.com. We upload there several times a day. You can get information direct from the site. You can also get sexual offender registry information. Traffic, a lot better than last week. We had 2 injury collisions and 1 hit and run. On the 25th, we had an injury collision on Camino Tasahara at Sycamore Valley Road. On the 27th, we had a non-injury hit and run, and this is a parked car in the Clock Tower parking lot. and that's down on Harts Avenue downtown. On the 30th, we had another injury collision on Camino Tasajara in Glasgow Drive. So you can tell we are doing more enforcement in those areas, both the downtown and the Camino Tas. All right, so crime. Definitely better than last week. If you watched last week's show, that was a lot of disappointment, and so that was unfortunate. But this week it's cleaned up a little bit, and I'll give kudos to you on the last one here. But let's look at what we had. We did have an aggravated assault. That's let me just mention that again. So when we talk about aggravated, I'll put it up here. When we talk about aggravated assaults, they're more than just a simple assault. An aggravated assault is something that's violent enough to where there's a broken bone, the person loses consciousness or needs stitches, something like that. So something more than an ordinary assault. All right, so let's go through here. So we had 4 thefts and 1 vehicle theft. On the 24th, we had a petty theft from a vehicle on Cameo Drive. On the 25th, we had a package theft on Sherry Lane. On the 29th, that was the assault with a deadly weapon, not a firearm. It was a glass that was near the person. And this just stemmed from a bar fight. Tempers got heated and things got out of hand. The person was booked in jail. The suspect was booked in jail on that one. On the 29th, there was a theft of a rear license plate from a vehicle on Jonathan Ridge Road. And then on the 29th, also, there was a theft of property from an unlocked vehicle. And then we also noticed that several vehicles were rummaged through, but this is the one that's interesting. During that call, the reason we responded out there wasn't because someone had already found their car broken into, but it was an alert neighbor that saw someone going car to car looking into vehicles. On its face, that's not really a crime, right? You can look at the interior of a car. You can look at, oh, this has got the yoke steering wheel versus a round steering wheel. Like it's legal to look in cars, but is it suspicious? Sure. Well, so when the cops go, the big clue that maybe these people are doing something illegal is when they hop in a car and they go past us at, a high rate of speed. That's probably the clue that something else is going on. So we chase them out of town, and we've talked about it before, but I think it's worth highlighting again. We did get into a pursuit. Ultimately, the pursuit was terminated on our part. In other words, we voluntarily stopped pursuing them. And what we do is we use what's called a balance test. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but I think the simplest way is to say it's a balance test. We take the need to catch them and recover property versus the safety of the public, and we kind of balance them out. And of course, if it's a property crime, that's not going to put too much weight on the scale. If it's a violent serious felony, sure, there's going to be more weight on the scale and need to catch them. Depending on what type of road we're on, the time of day, all of those things are going to kind of weight the public safety side. So ultimately, the supervisor felt, hey, we're not going to do this one, and cancel the pursuit. And we do cancel a fair amount of pursuits. I think there's a perception that, we just chase and chase and chase, and that's all we do. And we do take a thoughtful approach when determining whether or not to start a pursuit, to continue a pursuit, and then ultimately when to terminate the pursuit. That is a good example of a community getting together and knowing what's normal in their area, right? So let's say if it was midday, Sunday afternoon, and you see someone looking in cars in front of the San Ramon Valley High School. Maybe suspicious, or maybe because that's where everybody puts for sale vehicles, there's a reasonable explanation why they're there. And so we get calls, and sometimes most of the time, there's a reasonable explanation for us to be there. And then for us, it's just a good chance to go out and say hi to someone. If they go speeding away in a car, pretty big indicator that something wrong is going on. And it's up to us to be inquisitive and continue to look further. So kudos to the community. That was a huge win. That's why I love events like National Night Out. It brings community members together so everybody knows one another. You become experts in your area. And the last National Night Out, it was pretty interesting. I think it was the Fountain Springs location. Went to Fountain Springs, Ridgeland, and there were so many people that had just moved in 2-3 years, kind of in that COVID era. Really great to welcome new people to the community. So we loved it a lot. Here's my offer to all of you, though. I know we formalize it once a year, but if you want us to come out, we're more than happy to come out anytime. In fact, Friday, a couple days, I'm going to go to Wood Ranch because a neighbor told me that they have a typical gathering where they go like quarterly, and they just have people that host it, a different house each time. And they said, Chief, we'd love to have you over. Just give us an update on what's going on in the town, answer any questions. For me, that's perfect. If you have little kids, you have a birthday party, we have a program called Cop Cars to the Community. We'll actually send, and this is a volunteer-led program, we'll send our volunteers out there with a car and kind of let the kiddos play in the car and talk to them about what it is that law enforcement does. All of these are programs aimed at building relationships with the people that we serve. So we want to be shoulder to shoulder with all of you. All right, I'm going to check the chat. That's actually all I have to present. So I'm going to check the chat and see if there's anything. Kim says, I saw 4 police officers on community tasks about an hour ago, 2 SUVs and 2 bikes. Okay, Kim, you got me. I don't know what they were doing there. I've been stuck in the cube here. So what I'll do is I'll figure out what that was, and I'll answer that in the chat after we're done here. Okay, so and if I mess up your name, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to try to do my best. Centablo Games says, and this is on YouTube, says, hey, Chief, just wanted to ask one question. I'm planning on joining my local PD. What are some tips that a rookie may need to know? First, my recommendation would go to the sheriff's website and apply for the sheriff's office. Coolest law enforcement agency, I would just say, in the world, because I think that's the best way to put it. I think the one thing is I know you say your local PD, but when we recommend to people is try to find an agency that has the culture that suits you. Some people, I'm going to use East Bay Regional Parks as the example because I love the police department. They patrol parks and waterways, and they're in many different counties, and they're all over the place. They're very, very good partners to us. But what they are asked to police and how they're asked to do it by their community is different than Danville. And it's not that either are bad or they don't do a good job. It's just that we are very responsive to our community. And so I feel fortunate that I hit the jackpot. Contra Costa County is a wonderful county. I grew up in the county. I live in town here, so it's just great. So for me, the culture is good. The culture of the sheriff's office is fantastic. I know that our sheriff supports us to go out and do good police work, treat people with dignity and respect, and protect the people that we're sworn to protect. And I feel very comfortable that I'm able to do that. And so make sure that the agency that you choose is one that has a culture that suits what you want to do in law enforcement. As far as being prepared, this is one of the things I tell kids is the most valuable thing that you're going to bring to the table in law enforcement. And the reason I'm expanding on this answer is because I think it's actually very useful for anyone that the police department here serves. The most important thing that you can bring to the job is a very high level of ethics, professionalism, and a desire to treat people with dignity and respect. When I ask the kids and I say, hey, so how do you learn that? And, it's always the same answer. It's parents, it's your friends, it's the people that you surround yourself with, it's the intentional decisions that you make. We can teach people when they come in to be police officers. I can teach them how to dust for prints. I can teach them how to interview somebody. I can teach them how to properly drive a car, use different pieces of equipment. We can teach them the elements of a crime. It is very hard to teach someone who's not a good person to be a good person. And so when we are looking for people, we're looking for good fit. And if you think about at the beginning of the show, I play the Pelian principles, and at the end, I play the law enforcement code of ethics. They're like bookends for what we do, right? And so what I would encourage you to do is read those and look at them and really take a big self-assessment and say, okay, I understand how we're supposed to work with the community, protect the community. I understand the ethics that I must follow. And look at it and say, okay, because you should be 99.99% personally aligned to those 2 professional documents. Because if you're not going to provide good service. You're not going to treat people with dignity and respect. And it's going to be really hard to be in law enforcement. So I know that's not a great answer, but but I hope I did give you an answer that can both help you get hired and help you survive a career in law enforcement. All right, I'm scrolling down. Oh, so Kim answered the question for me. Oh, no, just patrolling. Good job. Okay, so Kim's comment earlier was she saw 4 police officers on community tasks 2 hours ago. an hour ago, 2 SUVs and 2 bikes. So interesting too, and this goes to the strength of our volunteers and police program, is a lot of times, and I don't know this for sure, but a lot of times some of the people that you may see out there are actually some of our volunteers that come in for free to kind of fly the flag a little bit and help to slow people down. And I'll let the secret out of the bag, but I asked them, just hop in the police car and just drive up and down Communitas, because if a cop car is doing the speed limit on Communitas, I can pretty much guarantee everyone that's driving around them will be doing the speed limit too. All right. Well, I'm looking for any other questions here. Okay, good. So it looks like I got your question there on YouTube. I don't see any more on Facebook, but if you have questions, I will be monitoring the chat for about 10 minutes later. I want to plug a couple of things, though. If you did not see the mayor's presentation last Friday, if you're either on YouTube or Facebook, it's on either of those, but it's Town Talks with the Mayor. You don't have to watch the last half because that's me, but watch the first half. That's a presentation by Ty Williams and Andy Dillard. And it is a presentation on the downtown master plan. And I'll tell you, I was there while they were presenting it, and I was enthralled. I was amazed. The things that they're going to do. And if your interest is traffic safety, especially in the downtown area, if your interest is traffic safety, you really want to watch that. The first part is about 25 minutes. And I'm telling you, they're throwing so much stuff at you. It's not that hard of a watch. It's very easy. But they're doing things like more pop outs for pedestrian safety. They're going to raise some of the intersections to make it safer for pedestrians. And one of the cool things that they're going to, well, how about this? You watch it and there's a marquee intersection, and I want you to see what they're going to do there. So watch that. And I think you're going to be amazed. You're going to be proud to be in Danville. That's for sure. So, okay. As always, cover some of the evergreens again. Download the FEMA all hazards checklist and the Contra Costa residence guide to wildfire preparedness and evacuation. And also sign up for the community warning system. That's the opt-in. If you don't know something's happening, you're not going to know to take action. So please opt into that. And also in the description for this show, there's the links to both of those. Also how to sign up for NIXL alerts. NIXL alerts, a little bit lower level. Fire happens on the hillside. Certainly we're going to put the community warning system alert out through the sheriff. But if a tree's down in the middle of the road and we're blocking it and we know it's going to be closed for an extended period of time, we're going to put all those out on NIXL. Road closures for a parade, for a car show, we're going to put those out on NIXL. We don't use the big community warning system for that. So if you want all of it, you go to NIXL. If you want just the disaster stuff, you can just go to the community warning system. All right, Danville, that looks like it's it. And okay, good. I don't see anything else in the chat. So Danville, thank you for joining us. And if you can, send this to a friend, let them know the information that we're putting out. And we are 1010, which means we're off duty, but we're always 10-8 in service to you. Have a good night, Danville.